folks, how are we doing? Now, one of the questions I always get asked is, why don't you do pit silage? Why do you do all bale silage? And we do a lot of bales. It's literally a cathedral to bale silage. So in this video we're going to have a look at the positives and negatives of both systems, and why some folks use a combination of both systems, why we use bales on our own, and why some folk just do pit silage. Anyway, let's get into it. So this setup we've got here is quite, I suppose, quite unusual, because when you think of clamp silage, you tend to think of a big chopper and a fleet of trailers. Well, this farming company run two forage boxes, Pottinger and a Lely. And that's my mate Sean there on his 7530. You'll have seen Sean in the dyno day. He was the first tractor on the dyno, if you want to check that out. But the fact that they've got these forage boxes means they're self-reliant. Yes, they've not got the capacity of a big chopper and a crew of trailers, but they haven't got the expense either. Right, what's one of these forage boxes? 60, 70, 80 grand, something like that. The 50 cube model, that Lady Tego. So the fact that they've got the two boxes means that they can cover, well, to be honest, a lot of acres a day, or hectares. But they're in charge of it. They can cut, say, 50 hectares a day, and then the two boxes will get and pick that up. So it's kind of an in-between the capacity of a chopper on clamp work and bale. So we're actually out the back of the farm at the minute, on what is usually grazing ground. This is all river floodplain, this is, because we've got a river just there, we've got a river behind us as well that merge. So when you get a lot of rain, all these fields flood, so hence why it's grass. Because it's been a good year and we've had a lot of grass growth, this field had got away from the cows, the grass had got too long. So if you leave it like that, the cows basically tread the grass in, they don't eat it as much because it's too long for them, it's too much hassle, so you end up sort of wasting it. So what the baler lets you do is, we can come in here, knock it down with the mower and put it into some bales, and then we've got some more winter feed, so it's not going to waste. So I say, if we were to leave this, the cows wouldn't eat it, like they'd trample it down. So we've, the baler gives us the flexibility to just, drop a little bit of grass if we need to, like if it suits. Obviously a bit of grass like this, you would, if you didn't have a baler and you had to get a contractor in, what a waste of their time and money, and your money, because they'd still charge you for it. But like I say, the baler gives you that flexibility. If like the grass gets ahead of the cows, just drop a bit, make some bales, and it's winter feed then. So you're not wasted you're not wasted your crop. So that's how high the grass was, sort of waist height. So all they would do is just trample it down. But we've got 14 bales in here now, so 14 extra bales for probably the heifers over the winter. Lovely nice bales, of course Tama edge to edge wrap. We like that because as the name suggests, it goes over the edge, so you get a nice neat side to the bale. Helps to improve bale quality when you're wrapping, when you're making silage out of them. And of course on straw you get improved weather protection, because obviously you haven't got the spiky bit there that sort of lets weather in. When it's like that, it forms a nice sort of protective layer to the let the rain sort of roll off it, so that's why we have edge to edge on them anyway. See that spray there at the start of the pickup? That's the additive, there's the applicator up there. Right, well this is the first time, obviously, I've ever bought a forage box on a 7530 as well, so you get that lovely noise from the old power tech there, like, beautiful. So obviously we've got the Baling Tego, it's setting, I mean I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's setting automatic. So what that does, at the top there, there's a, you might see it, there's a little, which way should we go? We'll go this way. There is a little sensor that, when the grass, because the grass goes up the front, and then what happens is it catches that sensor, then what that does, that tells the bed to move forward a bit, so it moves the silage towards the back, only a little bit, then it does it again, look. And that's how it fills up. It's all automatic, you can do it manually, but it's quite easy, and I ain't got to stop, have I? Side to side, as long as it goes up the front, it goes in the box. You know, on these rows there, what, 3 foot rows I think, because there's not a lot of grass here, I'd be having to weave with the baler. But it doesn't matter. With any baler actually, even a square one I'd be having to weave to make a nice square bale, you know, a square profile. But this, just get it in the box. Yeah, I can definitely get used to this. Like I say, it's like it is the in-between between baling and a full, you know, chopper setup. Honestly. Oh. Working now, we're definitely getting a bit of weight in the back. That is the thing with these forage boxes. This farm is sort of self-sufficient. They can cut the grass when it suits them, when the quality is the best, when the weather is best, and they're in charge of it, which is like the downside of getting contractors in, because then you have to fit in with when it suits them, you know, when it suits their schedule. Obviously they have, you know, the contractors tend to be very busy and they'll work round whatever suits or however suits their business. So that can mean, you know, your grass is not cut and clamped in the best condition it could be. You know, it could, you know, get a bit of rain on it, or it could get left too long. So these are the pluses and the minus. But like this, having a couple of forage boxes, you get kind of the best of both worlds sort of thing. You're in charge and you're making good quality silage. Sean's a good old boy for letting me have a go on his pride and joy. She is a superb machine. What a machine. Wait for it, it's going to load up. cut, third cut if there is any, or bits like this, you know, where the grass has outgrown the cows. Well, you could do it that way, but then you've got the expense of both systems, haven't you? You've still got to have the baler, or a contractor in to do the baling, but then of course you lose your timeliness. The baler comes when it suits the contractor, and you've got the baler and all the expense of having the pit, the concrete, the contractors coming in, or the expense of having to kit yourself like the forage wagon. So you're paying twice then. Whereas the baler gives us the independence to do the grass and the straw. Don't forget that is the other thing. You know, the baler does all the straw as well. So we'd need the baler, or again a baling contractor, to do the straw for us. But the fact that we've got our own bale and we can put them in bales, we can do it when the weather's right, when the crop's right, to get the best out of it. So the baler gives us the ability to do everything we need to do when we want to do it, so that the quality is the best, but without having to have the cost of having two systems. We've just got the one system. So can you sort of see what I'm saying? If we had the second system, we had the pit system, we'd still have to have the baler if we want to look after the quality of the straw we bale, for example. But we'd also have that extra cost as well. So the fact that we do it all with the baler, we're just down to that one system. It's more efficient for us. Right, so Saul's just backing up to the clamp now, and this is obviously the clamp here. Actually getting pretty full, so they have swapped from a fair big Massey with a butt rake to a JCB Agri Pro, so that they can carry the grass up to the top. They've also got a rolling tractor as well, because obviously consolidation, no matter what type of silage you're making, whether it be bale or pit, is key to making good silage. Getting the air out. So let's have a look at the back of this. I've never ever seen a box working. This is new to me as well. There you go, that's the hydraulic floor going. Some of them do have a set of beaters at the back, and they sort of flick it out as well, like, but this literally just comes out. There's 40 knives in there that are chopping it. When we get a bit out, we'll have a look. So obviously, you know, you can chop with this. We chop with our baler, and obviously the clue is in the name. The choppers, they chop it as well. There you go, you've just got a load of slats in there, and that's just what works it. Actually looks like a wooden floor in there. And one benefit you do get with you know, forage harvesters and forage boxes is a more consistent chop length than you do with bales, because like these boxes have got 40 knives in them. All the knives, basically all across the width of the pickup, all the knives are in, so you get a nice consistent chop. Now on the baler, because we're making a bale, we run it in, we've got a maximum of 25 knives, and we run them in banks of 3. So the outer ones have got blanks in, so we haven't got knives there. Then we have a bank of 3, then we have a blank, then we have another bank of 3 and a blank, so and so forth, just so that we've got a bit more structure to the bale. So if you chop all of it, you then do run a slight risk of, you know, the bale falling apart. I mean, you can counter that by putting more layers of wrap on. We put 3 on at the minute, so it produces a nice tight bale. The net doesn't slip. But we do make that concession of running blanks, so we've got the bale holds together more, if you understand. So that is a benefit of chopping with a forage harvester and a forage box. You get a more even cut with the knives. What I was saying about consolidation, this bit here hasn't been consolidated as much because obviously this is where they're tipping. But the further we walk up, see now this has been compacted, had a lot of running on, this has, so you see now the grass is supporting us. Now that's really key because silage is reliant on there being no air in there to aid the fermenting process. So say you were to just clamp this silo, push the silage up and leave it, not squidge all the air out of it, basically it would all go mouldy. It wouldn't make silage at all. It wouldn't be any good. So really, rolling the clamp is one of the most important jobs. So as you can see, the gentleman on the loader, he's getting right into the edges of the clamp, where historically you can have more problems. The edges and sort of like the face of the clamp. It's always tricky to get them as consolidated as the rest of the clamp. So you can quite easily, like see here, see how we're going in, it's not consolidated quite as well, so you're going to lose a little bit of quality there. Tell you what, there's a lot of grass in this clamp. I think roughly about 800 tonne, which is another thing. You do need to ideally cut as much as you can to fill the clamp in one go, because if you were to fill it say 3 times, where the joins are, where the faces are from your your initial cut in, and then when you fill on top of that, it's going to be variable quality. So that is another thing to consider when doing clamps. You do have to do enough to ideally fill the clamp in one go, but that again, you do get, you know, a lot of acres down and cut and banged into a clamp in one go. You know, it's sort of a lot of work, but in a very compact, short amount of time. Again, ideally what you need to build a nice clamp is like he's doing here, he's putting in thin layers all the time so that you compact in just the top layer of silage all the time. You're not doing, you know, you're not trying to compact 2 foot, 3 foot, you're trying to compact 6 inches. You know, consolidates a lot better. Last time I had anything to do with the clamp was 20 years ago, when I had the privilege of using a John Deere 4440 two-wheel drive to roll, is it grass or maize? I can't remember what we were clamping, but a big 300 cow dairy herd I used to work for back in the day, and yeah, that was quite a similar outfit to this really, and that was my only experience of clamping. I did have a little go on a JCB 412 Farm Master as well, but I was mainly doing the rolling with a 4440. Hell of a machine, and yeah, there is just something about clamping though. There really is. There really is. I can see why folks get excited about it. forage wagon. You know, this is where the baler becomes, you know, more cost effective at, you know, doing the bales, because so we're doing hay at the minute, we've got straw to do as well. So again, like, you know, the fact that we've got our own baler, we're in charge of, you know, when we bale our straw so it gets baled, you know, at the right time, so the right quality. And the other thing is, you know, they're as tight as we can make them, like, you know, so then it's, again, it's, I'm not saying contractors do, you know, contract bales lighter, but, you know, you know, we can make them as hard as, you know, there's this 5600 Macau will physically make them, like, you know. Basically like the silage, the same with the silage. You know, we have it wound up as tight as it'll go, basically. So they're, you know, they're ever such a nice tight bale, like. Also, that improves quality. That improves logistics. Also, you haven't got carts so many. It improves, you know, your storage as well, because obviously it doesn't, if you've made 10 really hard bales rather than 15 light, you know, lighter bales, obviously it takes up less room. So, you know, the denser they are, the better, you know, in all aspects, sort of thing. So when you keep putting all these things together, you can see why having the baler, making just straight bales, you know, it does add up, or adds up for us anyway. See, now he's doing some more consolidating, getting as close as he can, or as close as he dare, to the sides. Because like I said, that's critical to get the air out the sides. The less air you've got in it, the better silage you make. Which is kind of, again, not a negative about clamp work, but if you get it wrong, you get it wrong on quite a large scale. Whereas if you get it wrong with a bale, you get it wrong with one bale. You see the difference, sort of thing. So, you know, with the bales, you're spreading your eggs over a large area. Whereas clamp, it's all sort of like you're all in, like, you know, you've got to get it right, because there's no backup, sort of thing, like. So, like I said, if they were to not bother rolling this, not consolidating, getting the air out, you'd have some horrendous silage, you really would. And then what do you do? If it's all like it, you know, you've got 800 tons of silage that is all, you know, not fit for purpose, so to speak. So it is critical that matey does that, and he does it well, like. Some of the fields we do are really not very big, a bit like this one. This is probably about 2 acres, and there's a similar size field just the other side of the fence there that I've already baled. So, you know, fields like that, they're not ideal for big kit, are they? I mean, you could get a chopper in here, big, you know, 18-ton silage trade, you could get it in here, no worries, but it's not very efficient when you get into fields like this, is it, like? Especially because there's not a great crop in here. There's going to be 6 bales off it, something like that. So, you know, fields like this is better suited to kit like what we've got. You know, a little round baler, little loader tractor, 24-foot trailers. It all kind of works with our system, you know what I mean? Obviously, another benefit of clamp silage is the fact that it's more compact. There's roughly, like I say, there's 800 odd tons in there, and you compare that to our stack of bales back at the yard, which is a little bit more. It's about 1,000 tons. You'll see that, you know, the difference in area it takes up. Obviously, the downside is you have to be able to clamp. You have to have all the, you know, the concrete, a lot of concrete on the floor, and you're obviously the concrete panels as well. So there's a big expense in building a clamp. Obviously, another benefit of clamp is the fact that you only need a reusable sheet on top. So we're back at the yard now. Now some of these bales have got names on them, as you can see. Now what that denotes is they're from different fields. So some of the fields have meadow grass in them, some of the fields have ryegrass in them. Obviously different feed values for both. You know, in my opinion, bales are easier to mix and match because, you know, I've got access to, you know, the whole lot. You don't have to start at the front. You know, quite often we'll dob in halfway through just to get to some specific bales we want to use. And it's quite often like a combination of ryegrass and meadow grass. Like at the minute, we're feeding 3 bales a day, and 2 of them are ryegrass and 1 is meadow grass. And actually we are feeding, what I've just picked up there is one of last year's bales, and that stack in front is also last year's bales. They are a year old. I think you'll agree they look alright, don't they, lot? You know, for being over a year old, these are in good nick. They haven't sagged too much. The wrap's still in good nick. They look like nice round bales still. These were baled a bit wetter, and obviously we've got a bit of damage there. We'll see when we open that up just how bad that is. If it's the thing with the round bales, or bales per se, is that if I've got a slightly dodgy one, I can feed that to death as the dry cows. They don't care if there's a bit of wastage there, lot. So I think bales on the whole give us a lot more versatility with our system, and that's key. It's whatever suits your system, and with the bales we can get away with having just the one system. So obviously we still need to bale the straw over there. Again, it's nice to be able to do it yourself. You can control the quality and the time when you do it. So if we did pit silage as well, we've got all the extra cost and hassle of doing pit silage as well as having the baler, because we'll still have the baler to do hay and straw. You know, that's the thing, it works well for us. And like the farmers seen with the 2 forage boxes, that system works well for them. The folks that use, you know, have their own kit and they get contractors to do it all themselves, that works for them. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and you know, it's been quite informative, and hopefully it's given some answers to the questions of why don't you do pit, why do you just do bales. So that's, you know, it's quite a long-winded video, but there's a lot of points I had to make, and I don't think I've actually covered all of them. There are still positives and negatives that I haven't covered, but maybe that's for another video. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ta!